All right, so we finally have arrived, Devin.
We?
Well, sort of.
Okay. All right.
Anakin Skywalker's finally introduced. We're about 33 minutes into the movie,
Yes.
and little Annie comes strolling into Watto's shop. This is the introduction of Anakin Skywalker, who will be Darth Vader, who this whole thing is really all about.
Yeah.
But I have a question. And the question is Anakin's introduction too undramatic, too subtle, too boring? I mean, should something much more insane and dramatic and wow, here's Anakin, should it happen? Or did Lucas make a great decision and just have Anakin stroll into Watto's workshop? What do you think?
Well, let me say first, I'm disappointed that your question was not asking me if I'm an angel. But
Are you an angel?
with that being said, it's interesting because we don't even have much of, there's no music happening. There's no John Williams score to kind of give us this foreboding, foreshadowing moment.
I know, it's fascinating, the decision.
And at the same time, I'm just thinking of Vader at the end of Rogue One, right? I mean, compare those two. It's a fascinating choice.
Yes.
I think it's a little disappointing from my standpoint not to even get some nod, mainly because when we go back to some of the earlier episodes of Prequels and a Pint, we're talking about the some of the promotional material had little Anakin with the silhouette shadow of Vader.
Yes.
And so it just seems like that would be such an obvious part for just a little bit of a nod, whether it was through music, actual entrance, dialogue, whatever. It just seems like missed opportunity.
Yeah, maybe. It's so hard. First, it's hard to tell what would be best. At the same time, it is so easy to second guess a filmmaker and how they are telling a story.
Yeah.
Right? Or a screenwriter or whatever. In this case, it's easy to, kind of backseat driver George Lucas.
Yeah.
Especially with a lot of the fallout that came with The Phantom Menace in particular. In this sequence, it's really interesting. We have a few things going on. We have Jar Jar kind of bumbling around the workshop.
Right.
You have the introduction of Watto, who was really, some people interpreted the creation of that digital character as a racist sort of character.
Right.
So you have his introduction. You also have the "Are you an angel?" Anakin's entrance, and then he observes Padme, which really, it's their relationship that drives the whole thing. Yeah. It's his desire when they're married to keep her alive that really brings about the fall of the Jedi.
Right.
And so you're at this moment where it is incredibly, it is the most important relationship in this trilogy besides maybe Anakin and Obi-Wan. And Anakin just kind of floats into the workshop and sits down and says, "Are you an angel?" It's so hard to tell what would be best. You would think it would be a more dramatic situation, but maybe the intention was to make it just subtle.
Yeah.
And that it is more in what makes it special is amongst, think about what all has happened in the first 30 minutes. There's been a lot of drama. And it's almost, you would think it's this chance encounter, although in the Star Wars galaxy, the Force is at work.
Right.
And so it might not be. But it feels like it's just this quiet moment in the midst of all this noise where these two characters meet in this quiet situation.
Yeah.
Is the acting kind of weird and wonky and strange? Sure. I don't know how, a little boy would act in that situation.
Yeah.
But it doesn't bother me too much.
Right.
The question, "Are you an angel?" I had a good snicker at it when I was in the theater in my early 20s. But it's one of those situations where I hate it because of all the moments in The Phantom Menace. For me, this is one of the few where I kind of second guess stuff and go, shouldn't something different happen here? I don't know. Is it a situation, in your opinion, where we should just let it go and just move on?
Well, the alternative is what?
Right. Get mad and tweet people and,
have another beer.
Please. Yeah.
Here's what I find as fascinating with that, and I know that this is going to be explored a little bit more in the film, over the next couple scenes, but it's a fascinating take on slavery.
Yes.
Where it's like domesticated servant.
Yes.
Slavery is an interesting choice, especially because he's not dirty. He gets to build his pod racers and his droids, and from what we can tell, like they're not missing any meals.
They have a home.
And so I'm curious, from the perspective of like the character of Anakin, would it have been more compelling to actually show a little bit more strife?
See him in chains.
Something suffering a bit, right? We don't get the impression other than the label of slave.
I'm a slave. You know, I'm not a slave. You know, I'm a boy.
You're a slave? I'm a person, and my name is Anakin.
See the suffering that goes with that.
Yeah.
And I think that could have done a lot for that arc of Anakin / Vader if we really see this horribly oppressed
and
beginning.
mistreated.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's one where you wonder if the fan reaction might have been different. If like there's this discovery of a boy in chains,
right,
not in a home
right,
with his mother,
right,
with his own bedroom,
right,
that's a workshop
right,
where he builds a droid,
right,
but instead like he's in a box chained up, and Qui-Gon and Padme have empathy to rescue him.
Right.
What a different trajectory that film might have taken if. But that's not what we have. We have Are You an Angel strolling into the workshop, the introduction of Watto, who we're going to be talking about in our next episode. It's one of the few, for me, moments of what if. You know, and again, I know there are fans that have a lot of those what ifs. I don't have as many. I've just kind of accepted it. This is the story we got.
Right.
But I can't help myself with the introduction of Anakin. It just feels too subtle.
It's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Nubians. Nubians.